Tonight we are going to make a barbecue sauce without sugar, without added sugar, and it will be vegan, which I think not all barbecue sauces are, because some have Worcestershire sauce, and I believe that has anchovies in it. But tonight we're gonna make a vegan one. There's other things going on in the background, but don't worry about that for this episode. And I actually don't have barbecue sauce that much because of I don't do really sugary things. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit here. We have a random bottle of barbecue sauce we were given that we've never opened, but maybe one day we will. But for now, this is going to serve as my guideline for creating a barbecue sauce. Mainly because I might forget an ingredient, and I don't want to forget any ingredients. It's not going to match this exactly. But, let's see. So, this barbecue sauce, there's a lot of different types of barbecue sauce based on like the region of the country you're in, and I am not a barbecue expert, and I don't claim to be one, and I'm not going to try and be one tonight. So, this is... Let me see, this is mild barbecue sauce. And the first ingredient is tomato puree. Then sugar, of course, like most barbecue sauces, they are very sugary. Distilled vinegar, molasses, some more sugar, salt, natural smoke flavor, cornstarch to probably thicken it up so it's thicker, garlic powder, onion powder, ground red peppers, xanthan gum, xanthan gum. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Maybe it's xanthan. But that is a thickener. That makes this thicker too. And spices. I don't like using cornstarch and gums to thicken things. I want it to be naturally thickened with the ingredients we're using. So for this barbecue sauce tonight, we're going to try and get somewhat close to this. So... And if you didn't know, the ingredients are listed in order of the amount that's in them. So, what do we have here? We've got some tomato items. We've got tomato sauce. This tomato sauce is tomato puree, which is organic tomato paste, and there's organic onion powder and garlic powder already in this. So this is actually pretty good start for our base. So I'm going to use some of this in the sauce. Next, the thing that I like to do that covers the sugar, the sweetness, and the thickness is using sweet potatoes. So we're going to make a sweet potato barbecue sauce. I might have said that at the beginning, and I felt like I was just doing a reveal, but I think I revealed right at the beginning of this video. Those are some roasted sweet potatoes that my lovely girlfriend Autumn has prepared so kindly in the oven. And we're going to throw some of those in this too. So let me start off with the canned tomatoes. I rinse off the top of the lids for canned items because sometimes the lid like dips into the food itself. So just help keep things a little bit more sanitary. There's the lovely smooth tomato sauce. And I'm going to add, let's see, I'll probably add half of a can. Yeah, I added half of a can here. I don't need a ton of barbecue sauce. Now we're going to add some of these sweet potatoes. And this is probably hot, so I'm just going to add these a few at a time. And I'm going to add, these chunks are about that large. You can see my hands are for reference. I'm not an abnormally large or small human being. So I'm going to add 3 of these in here. No, I'm going to add 4. Maybe it'll be wild and add 5 actually. Let's see. Here's 1. No, I'm just going to add 4 for now. So we've got our 4 sweet potatoes. Let's add a little bit of sweetness. Next, onion powder and garlic powder. Our tomato sauce does have a little bit of that in it, but I'm going to add a little bit more to give some more flavor. So this is garlic powder, and I'm gonna add about maybe like a teaspoon or half. It's probably more like a half teaspoon of garlic powder. You can always go back and add more. And the onion powder is, sometimes things are a little difficult to find in here. Oh, there it is. There's our onion powder. Custom handmade note. We buy bulk and then rejar. So about the same amount of onion powder as garlic powder. Now we have the tomato base for like the base of the sauce, and the sweet potato is going to add some sweetness, a little bit of flavor, and some thickness. We still need to add a few more things. I'm going to add a little bit of white vinegar. Here's some white vinegar. Maybe you like apple cider vinegar. You could maybe add some of that in. I'm not a huge fan of apple cider vinegar. And I'm just going to add a couple tablespoons. I'm going to go for 3 tablespoons to start. Two-ish to 3-ish tablespoons, I think that was. Let's see where that gets us. Thankfully, I do have more tomato sauce and sweet potatoes. I intentionally made that so I can always add more later on if I added too much of any one thing. Salt's really the one you have to be most careful with because that one goes the furthest. Just a little bit of salt goes a long way. And we're going to want some smokiness in here. And some spice, because we like spicy. So there's 2 spices I'm going to add. I don't know if this is technically a spice, it's just a dried vegetable, I guess. Smoked paprika. This adds smoky flavor without any real heat. And chipotle powder. This adds a smoky flavor that's different than this one, and this one also has a little bit of heat. So I'm going to add maybe an 1/8 teaspoon of each of these. So just a light dusting in there. And you could already smell, I know you can't, but we can smell the smokiness and some of the flavors starting to come together now. And now I'm going to take some personal freedoms to add some other things that are sometimes in barbecue sauces. And I'm going to add, play around with some things here. So I'm going to grab some mustard, some soy sauce, and some nutritional yeast. Now I've mentioned this in the past. These 2 guys, the soy sauce and the nutritional yeast, have naturally occurring glutamates. They have a higher amount of glutamic, can't speak right now, acid. That is the same sort of molecule thing that MSG is derived from or provides. So MSG is monosodium glutamate, which is derived originally from seaweed to provide a meaty, bulky, savory flavor. There are foods that naturally contain glutamates like nutritional yeast, soy sauce, I believe Parmesan cheese is another one, tomato paste. So we're going to add a little bit of these, not for flavor, but to add savoriness or umami. And I'm going to add just a little bit of soy sauce. I'm going to add a little bit more. So that might have been like a teaspoon or so. And that's going to go a little bit of a way. Before I do the mustard, I'm going to add a little bit of the nutritional yeast. Again, not too much. Just maybe that's an 1/8 of a teaspoon or a half teaspoon. And then mustard. And this is not adding any umami, I don't think, but just a little bit of some fun flavor. And that's like a teaspoon of mustard. So I don't measure, I'm not measuring, obviously, the teaspoons, tablespoons, and cups, or quarter cups. But I kind of didn't realize this before, but as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about it. I do not add, I think about it in terms of the scale. So there's like the teaspoon scale of adding ingredients, there's the tablespoon scale of adding ingredients, and there's the quarter cup at a time scale of adding ingredients. So some of these I've been operating on the tablespoon scale, like the white vinegar. It's like healthier contributions or inputs of white vinegar versus some of these spices. I'm doing little shakes at a time. So when I'm doing those little shakes, I'm kind of operating on the teaspoon order of magnitude scale. It's not that much. A little bit goes a long way. With tablespoons, you're adding a little bit more. Those are less powerful spices and ingredients, maybe. So I'm adding a little bit more at a time because they're not as strong. So just having used some of these ingredients a lot, I have a feel for me at least, how much I can pick up with the flavor. So I'll add some of these more on like the teaspoon scale of things, like 1/8 of a teaspoon at a time or a 1/2 teaspoon at a time. Whereas other things I might add more like at a tablespoon at a time or a quarter cup at a time. So like the sweet potato and the white vinegar are more like tablespoons at a time. So let's blend this up and see where we get. I haven't added any salt yet. So it smells like barbecue sauce. So that's a really good sign. When you make something and it smells how you want it to smell, you're on a really good track to it tasting how you want it to taste. Now we need a neutral sampler for our sauce. Or I could just take a spoon. It's nice to have like a cracker, like a saltine, because you don't really eat barbecue sauce too much by itself, but I'm going to try a little bit by itself just to see where I'm at with maybe saltiness and some of the flavors. Wow. That's really good. I don't know if I should try and make it better. I think I really like it how it is. I'm gonna add a little bit more vinegar. It can use a little bit more tanginess, I think. I could taste a little bit of the mustard. So added that vinegar, maybe that's another tablespoon or so of vinegar. It's also gonna thin it out a little bit. I'm gonna add just a pinch of salt at this point too. So that might not actually be how much I'm using. Just gonna take a little bit, sprinkle it in. Actually, I might use all this anyways. Yeah, I'm using it all. Okay. The more foods you add, ingredients you add, the more bulk you add, the more you dilute the salt. Now I want to try it on a cracker, just to confirm everything is right and good. I might add just a little bit more garlic and onion powder. Yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit more because right now it tastes good, but it tastes a lot like just vinegared tomato sauce, like a sweet, tangy tomato sauce. So I think adding a little bit more of this onion powder and garlic powder. Again, we're on the teaspoon scale of adding things. I don't want more chipotle. I don't want some of that flavor. I want a little bit more of the smoked paprika in there, though. And I felt pretty good on the mustard level. Let's take a taste. Sometimes you need to like think about it too. Like, is this what I want? Yeah, I think for us this is perfect. So when you try and make this at home, if you do, I encourage you to play around with these and add just maybe less than you think you need at the beginning of all these ingredients, and add little bits at a time to figure out what flavors you want in and really get a feel for how all these affect the taste of the finished product. That is it for our barbecue sauce. I'm going to transfer that into a bowl for us. The rest of our dinner is going to be tempeh. We got some kale and carrots, and we're going to put it in a tortilla, so like a little barbecue tortilla taco burrito thing. But I also wanted to just point out the consistency. You can see it's pretty thick. This isn't like a runny tomato sauce or runny barbecue sauce. If you want it thinner, you can add more vinegar or more water if you really don't want any more like tanginess to it. If you want it even thicker, you can add more sweet potato, and if you want it sweeter, you can do that too. But honestly, it feels like it's plenty sweet, and it's just perfect, I think. So this is how you make a plant-based barbecue sauce with no added sugar and we're doing this live, we're just doing it all in one take. This is plant-based barbecue sauce with no added sugar based on tomatoes and sweet potatoes. Enjoy, and thank you for watching.